Tiny people. All right, we're going to go over a few things here having to do with your test. Now, it's really important that you do not ignore this. What I did on this test was, yes, I actually went ahead and gave you an enormous curve. I gave you about 40% of your points back from what you lost. In the future, you cannot count on that. Now, I gave you the direction as to how to prepare, yet still there were lots of people that messed up on some things. It's critical at this point in your academic career. You listen and then follow through. Not six chances, not do-overs, not retakes, just do it correctly the first time. All right, first thing I said up here was don't ignore these comments. Now you can probably zoom in and out on this board, it helps you out. Margins. The right-hand margin is the same size as the left-hand margin. Now, if you're looking at a computer, it immediately defaults and sets the left-hand margin. So you know it's about this wide. Inch, inch and a half, whatever you're going to set to. You should have the same thing on the other side. The easiest way to see this is when a line wraps around. The computer automatically goes down to the next line. And it said, oops, we reached the margin. Now we need to go back to the start. What's critical here is you can't go on the size of the question. If the question says, name 3 objects, well, you don't have much to work with. What if the question is, why? How are you going to write down a page using 3 letters and a question mark space to answer? Clearly, it's not the size or the length of the question. It's from margin to margin. Also, I have you write words that you misspelled 10 times on the back of your test. That is not a punishment. That's so you learn to use commonly misspelled words and to correct and to spell them correctly. You. Get rid of the word you. Say what you mean. If you honestly do believe that you're talking about me, Mr. Holman, that's who you are addressing, well, that's okay, but that's probably not what you should be doing on a test question. We're not having a conversation. You're explaining things that should always be in the third person. And you put me in some ridiculous situations. When you die, you will go to Valhalla. I don't believe I'm going to go to Valhalla. I'm not a Viking. So don't put you in here unless you specifically mean me, Mr. Holman. On the flip side of that, if I tell you something, I write it down, you, what would you do? Don't start off by saying, well, you should. I'm not asking about me. If I say, what would you do? Your answer should begin with, I would. I'm talking to you. Words have meanings. Okay. Little thing that middle schoolers tend to do, you need to watch out for, and that is it's easiest to write in present tense. You could say the Vikings sailed from Europe and are living. No. They aren't. They didn't sail 1,000 years ago. Now they are living somewhere. That's not the way it works, unless they're really, really, really old Vikings. So if you start off in a past tense, stay in a past tense. If you're writing in a present tense, stay in a present tense. Key lesson here, you talk about history, generally it's going to be past tense. Alrighty, what else have we got here? Indent the start of paragraphs. Open any book. The only time that it is acceptable not to indent is in a formal business letter. We live in a world of word processing, and it's perfectly fine just to leave a space between your paragraphs in a formal business letter. But if you open a book, if you write a letter, you're getting a regular formal English, the answer is, dun, 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 you indent to begin a paragraph. All right. To get is one of those words that everybody loves. I just want to use that to mean everything. To get is not a helping verb. You're looking for the verb to be. I got hungry. No, I am hungry. I was hungry. Use the correct verb. Write in blue or black ink only. That shocked a couple of people because that's been stated. That was on the standards for the work, but suddenly they're like, whoa, I was supposed to read that and actually do something with it? Yes, that's why I give directions. It has to be in blue or black ink. It's a 5-point loss otherwise. Do not restate the question. How did oceans change from barriers to carriers? Well, originally, long ago, oceans stopped people from traveling. They were, in fact, barriers. But later on, people started to travel across the oceans, and they in fact became carriers. Okay, that's not an answer. That's just restating the question. And give details, for heaven's sake. Don't just say they made a better ship. What kind of a ship? A caravel. Oh, what else? Oh, what about a compass? What does that do? Points for magnetic north. What about the lateen sail, a triangular sail that allows them to steer in directions other than just flowing with the wind? And finish telling me what a caravel is, a bigger, larger ship, more seaworthy, more steady, can go further. And who did it? Prince Henry, the Navigator of Portugal. Don't just tell me better ship. That's not enough. When you are going to answer a question, read, stop, think. Don't immediately start writing. Don't let the time pressure get you to say, I have to write something right now, and it might be completely wrong. I don't care because it's something. No, read, stop, think, then write when you know the answer. It actually goes a lot faster. SF circle. SF circle means that's a sentence fragment. That means you didn't write a complete sentence, and as a result, it's not a complete thought. If somebody walked up to you and said, because I was in Denver, does that mean anything? No, it's a dependent clause. It's not a complete sentence. It doesn't have any meaning. Now, if you said, I visited the Broncos training camp because I was in Denver, that's a complete thought. Now you've got the whole thing. Also, the letters SP circled, that means spelling error. I wrote up here, like they do in the lower school, the little penmanship kind of a line where it's a solid line, and in between dots to show you a capital P and a lowercase p. This is huge, folks. I know you live in the world of texting where we just don't do capital letters, but in the world of writing, in the world of looking like an educated person, you need to learn to do capital letters. And that means you need to capitalize any proper nouns or adjectives. And a proper noun is defined as a word which describes a particular person, place, or thing. If I say land, that's not particular. That's a common noun, that's lowercase. If I say Colorado, that's a particular place, particular piece of land. That, in fact, is a proper noun, capital C. Same thing with a boy, common. George, proper. All righty, what else have we got here? Give the details. Give me all the hairy details in your answers. If I said I had a bunch of flowers, you would know that was a bunch. Article A, noun bunch, a bunch. If I said I had a group of Girl Scouts, a group, article, then noun. If I said I have a lot of fun, that would be a article, separate word, lot. So a lot is not one word, it is two words. What else have we got here? Your section. You need to know whether you were in section Washington, Adams, Jefferson, or Madison. Those are the four sections. Do not make it up and say period 9 or Mr. Holman's history class or period 17, or we had some interesting ones on there. It's either W circled if you're in the first period, the first class, Washington. If you're in my second history class, it's Adams, A circled. If you're in the third, it's Jefferson, J circled. If you're in the fourth, it's Madison, M circled. And as far as being really, really friendly with people in history, it's really nice that you George Washington and Abraham Lincoln, you call them George and Abe. Bad news. Only in baby books do authors write and use a first name only when they're talking about real people. What you need to do is the first time you mention someone's name, George Washington, after that, you can drop the George and just refer to him as Washington. You may not drop the Washington and refer to him as George. All right, that's a respect kind of a thing. Please don't doodle on the sides of the papers. It's not scratch paper. There's a ton of scratch paper over there if you need to doodle. Go ahead and take one that's under Shrek's right arm. Also, if you're just trying to organize your thoughts, go crazy. We'll find you some scratch paper. Speaking of respect, I hate to break it to you because I know mom and dad might have told you, hey, you are the most special, precious, amazing human being that was ever born. You're a kid. You're 12 years old. In some cases, you're 11. And you haven't earned a lot of respect in the world. You have the respect of human dignity, but, well, guess what? There are people that are in places way above you that deserve respect because of what they have accomplished. I don't care about your politics. A 12-year-old should not be saying Trump or Biden. I don't care what you think about them. You could say Vice President Biden, Mr. Biden. You could say President Trump, Mr. Trump. That goes either way. That's the fact of the matter is they have held very high offices in our country. And if you don't respect the person, respect the office. You know, when Army people get together, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, if they see somebody walking by with a higher rank, they salute. They're not saluting the man, they're saluting the rank. They're saying, wow, you're doing something special. So we're doing the same thing here. And even if that's just being an adult, the fact that it's going to be Mr. Urbanski, not Urbanski. All right, let's show some respect. Understanding power as a theme. When I want your examples, you need to tell me someone doing an action, a particular person or persons motivated by power, because of power. You can't tell me someone who has power. Abraham Lincoln had a really big army. That's not an example of doing anything. That's an example of having power. You can't say using power. Abraham Lincoln attacked with his really big army. That's using power. If you have an example as a theme, it is someone, a specific person or persons, doing a specific action. Remember, that's not hope, think, feel, want, believe, but a specific action motivated by power. Uh, Queen Elizabeth had her sister executed so she could be queen. No, you may not use that one on this test. Incidentally, examples need to come from the historic material that we are dealing with on each test. So whatever you use this time, it's no good next time. I don't want you to use the dates anymore because I don't want you to keep using the same one. The purpose is to show at every step of history, people have been motivated by land, by power, and by religion to action. What I want you to do is find something from what we study. And it can't just be mentioned in class from modern times. If we say, oh, the mayor of Milwaukee is starting a new campaign or something. Okay, he wants to be mayor. It's in Milwaukee, but it's right now, it's not from our little section of history. That's where you need to find your examples. What else have we got here? I think we just about have it. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take the little camera here and kind of go slowly down the board so you can get all of this in case you couldn't see it before. So if you would, please bear with me. Let's see if we can get this done. Okay, we're good. Thank you.